Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
Hitting the customer REST application and getting the details, correct?
From the environment variables. Yeah, once we bind, it is getting from the environment variables.
Yeah, correct, right? So what, like, can't we just hard code the URL in the customer web and directly hit, can't the customer web directly connect to the customer REST application and get the details? Do we need a service in between?
That is what actually I don't want to hard code. So that means you have to write it in your application code if you want. So during
I understand.
deployment
For
time,
different environments, you will be having different URLs. I understand that.
yes. So during deployment, in my deployment manifest, I should be able to do it. During deployment, I should be able to do it because I don't know the URL of that other service until deployment.
Yeah, but do we really need a service for that environment variables, or can we have a separate file where we can read all these details from that file and then proceed? Do we really need a service in between?
Yes, in this case, what you could have done is you could have set a environment variable directly in the manifest, right?
Yeah.
In the manifest, you should have directly set a environment variable. That should be sufficient. It's not really required. I just wanted to show an example of a user provided service. Just an example.
Got it.
It might not be really required.
Got it. Yeah, that was my question.
You can actually think of a database, a third-party database, external database, which is not managed by Cloud Foundry. You can configure this as a user-provided service. That could be a best example.
Correct. Okay.
Normally, in case of microservices, see, this customer REST is one microservice, web is another service. So normally in microservices, there will be something called the discovery server. They discover each other directly using a discovery server. We will not even do like this in microservices. So only I just wanted to give an example saying one app can also be a service to another app. I just wanted to give an example or idea about it.
Okay. So the next question was, in the lab, I could not delete the MySQL instance managed service.
Okay, so you have to unbind it first.
No, that is all done. I unbounded that, and I deleted the service. I deleted the app. It gave me an error saying that service keys, bindings, and shares must first be deleted.
Correct. So I guess you have bound the same service to two apps. How many apps do you have in your space?
If you log in, you will not see any apps actually in my user space. There are no apps and there is no bindings, but still I'm not able to delete.
This is one mistake. See, I guess you might have executed the manifest lab also, right?
But that was after the services lab.
Correct.
So
in the services lab, you just exactly followed my document.
Yeah, I just followed exactly like in the document. The first document I followed was the service lab, wherein at the end you say to delete and unbind all the services and apps, and then we go into the manifest lab, right? At the last step, which tells to delete the managed service, it's not happening to me. I'm not sure about that, but it did happen.
I will tell you the mistake you might have done.
Okay.
you might have by mistake or maybe intentionally just for trying, you might have bound that MySQL service to both the apps.
Okay.
Maybe by mistake you might have bound one service to more than one app. You unbound with only cust rest, but you forgot to unbound to cust web.
Okay.
Okay. So in such cases, when you forget to unbind and you by mistake, if you have deleted that service,
Okay.
it will show like this. Tell me your user ID.
It's
User ID
user
you used.
20.
1 minute.
Okay.
User 20, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. You're seeing my screen, right? Yeah. So the base there are no app, but service.
Yeah.
Okay, this is here. Yeah. So now by mistake delete the app without unbinding.
Okay.
That is the one. That is the reason why you are not able to delete that.
So in such cases, what is the solution, Shiva?
Oh, it's saying bound app 0. Now you should be able to delete it.
Yeah.
It's saying bound app 0. Can you try now?
Okay. Let me try.
I clicked on this. This is the one. See, I clicked on MySQL instance. I think when you are not able to delete, yeah, okay, see here it is. Service key. Okay, did you try the plugin also?
Oh yeah. I tried the plugin.
Yes. You tried the plugin. The plugin also will be using this this service, right? Yeah, that is the reason. I think so. Now what you have to do, you have to just click on this delete.
Okay.
Delete. Now you try to delete that service. It should work.
Okay, Shiva. Let me try. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone has any other queries before we start off for today? Everybody was, yeah.
Shiva, this is Manivanan.
Manivanan, tell me.
Yeah. So yesterday actually I followed the first document and tried to push the music, the Spring Music app war inside our Spring Cloud. It says no domains. There is no domain, so I cannot push the war. So not sure how to create domain. I used to use it in.
User 10.
Yes. So trying to push the app from my Gmail account.
Google Cloud account.
Yes.
You install CF everything, right?
It is done. Yes. I installed CF and as per the document, right? I just moved to user bin and then try to push it. I just created one space called MySpace and I'm just trying to push it inside this, but it says there is no domain. So I just Googled it somewhere and it said we need to create routes and something. I'm
No,
not sure
by
exactly.
default it will create a route. Let me check. There are no instances of this, and let me check the logs. Name. Oh, name you gave it as springmusic.war, I guess.
So what we want to change?
App name should not be .war. I think
Okay.
dot whatever you have kept is giving an error.
Okay.
Okay, while pushing you give an app. Did you use random route? Yeah, you used random route. That's fine.
Yes, I did that. Yeah.
That's fine. So updated the app. Here, random route you gave. Let me just try to log in. I'll try. What I think you might have done some mistake. Just a minute. User 10, right?
Yes, yes.
In which space? In my space?
Any you can choose. Maybe you choose MySpace or Dev, whichever is fine.
Yeah. Okay, app name is springmusic.war. CF delete, I'll say. Okay, let me push. I also have springmusic.war. Where is it? Spring music. Oh, it's not there. Just a minute. Not take much time. Yes. So now see the push.
Yeah.
Whatever you do after push is app name. I'll say my music. -p /music.war.
Okay.
And I'll use -- random route.
Yeah.
That's all. It should push. I'm not sure what mistake we have done. Let us see.
Okay. So I used actually the same name. That I think that's the problem, I guess.
This is a file name and this is your app name, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe you.
So app name and file name, I think both are same. That's why.
Maybe. Okay, it should work. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, any other queries from others?
Shiva, can you show the user details for?
Sorry.
Which users are assigned? Who created users?
User.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get you. Sorry.
No. I'm asking. You created user 1, user 2, user 3, right?
You didn't.
Can you
You didn't get a username.
No. Can you show that one?
You didn't get a username. You are saying?
No. I'll be using my personal laptop now.
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Okay, that's fine. On Cloud Foundry, you have to use a user, right?
Yeah, that's what actually. Okay. Do you have that information with you, or you don't
Yes.
have it?
What you are Muthu Krishnan, right? Okay, Muthu Krishnan Ravi. Your user ID is 10, right?
Okay.
Who is that?
Okay, I come down. Okay.
I think I'm wrongly used that user 10 in my name. Can you just show me that's my user ID? I'm Manivanan.
Money. I think you were not there at the time or what? I think
I just connected only.
Okay, Manivana, I think you were not there. You can use 22 actually.
Okay.
From now you can use user 22.
Yeah. Okay.
Muthukrishna, you can start. You can use user 10 only. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So any other queries before we start for today? So let me ask you some questions. Before I go ahead, and then today we'll discuss today's agenda. So quickly about services, I'll quickly revise in 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll take you to the next topic because services are important. So these are my cells, let's assume. Okay, and this is Ops Manager VM, Operations Manager VM. And this is Bosch Director VM or Bosch VM, which is installed through Operations Manager. And through Bosch, we have installed the whole Cloud Foundry. And this is my cloud controller. Okay. Now, what I have done is I am your administrator. I have installed MySQL as a service. Through Ops Manager, I have installed MySQL. So a VM will be created for MySQL, right? So this VM, will it contain MySQL database or some other app? Can anyone tell me? The VM which gets created once your administrator installs the tile.
It is a broker. It does not contain any SQL.
Yes, remember, correct. It is a MySQL broker, service broker. Service broker will be installed in this VM, not the MySQL. So service broker, what is a service broker? It is nothing but a REST API exposing mainly 5 endpoints. Every service broker exposes 5 endpoints. One is for /catalog, which will give catalog of plans / bind service. Sorry, first of all, create, let's say. Yeah, of course, bind also is there. Create service, bind service, and delete service, unbind service. These are the APIs. These are the endpoints, URLs, right? Now, when the administrator has installed the service broker, how does my cloud controller know that there is one service broker installed and it is available in marketplace? How will this broker gets registered with cloud controller? Yeah, anybody?
It will send heartbeats to the heart health manager.
Of course, anything which is installed through Bosch will send heartbeats to health manager of Bosch. That's fine. But how does the service broker register with cloud controller? Because whenever I say CF marketplace, to see the marketplace services, request goes to cloud controller, and cloud controller only should retrieve and give the information about all the services available in marketplace. Somehow this has to go and register with this one.
It goes with the REST API connection.
It uses errands to register?
Exactly, errands. So actually, whenever you are doing any installation through Bosch, there are post-deploy scripts called as errands. So there will be an errand which will actually fire a command like cf create dash service dash broker, broker name, URL of the REST API of broker, username, password of the broker. Right, this is a command which will be fired by an errand. So this errand, the cf command, again it will go to CC and CC will store all the information in its database. That's how it will register with Cloud Controller. Yeah. So once we are discussing about this errand, right? Can anyone tell me? I have installed Cloud Foundry through Bosch, or of course through the UI of Ops Manager, and we are seeing this Apps Manager. This is our Apps Manager UI, is it? How am I able to see this Apps Manager? Where is this web application of Apps Manager running? Who installed it? For Cloud Foundry. Cloud Foundry also is installed through Bosch, right? Once the installation of Cloud Foundry is completed, there will be post-deploy errands also for Cloud Foundry also. One of the post-deploy errand is pushing an app into Cloud Foundry. Apps Manager also is an app running in Cloud Foundry, right? So just give me a minute. I will log into my Ops Manager. There is my Ops Manager, and I want to get the credentials of admin user from Ops Manager. This is my admin user password. Okay. Now what I'll do is through CFCLI, I will log in. Yeah, I will log in now as an admin. Just a minute. Copy. Yeah. See, once I'm logging, these are the organizations available. Once I log in as admin, I'll log into system organization. In system organization, if you see, there are multiple spaces. There is system space. So I'm logged in as admin to system org and system space. These are automatically created. Now if I say CF apps, you can see that there is one apps manager JS green. Actually, do you see the URL? Is this the URL which you use for apps manager? Yes. So this got deployed as an app by one of the errand. Okay, fine. Now you understood how service broker came, and then whenever you want an instance of MySQL or any of the service instance, you use cf create service command. Then whenever you use cf create dash service, the request will go to CC. CC will make call to the REST API. This will service broker will now create one more VM for your service instance. Then you bind the service instance to the app by using cf bind dash service. Once you bind, what happens? Again, the request will go to CC. CC will call bind service on the broker. The broker will return the credentials. Credentials are stored in database. after you bind the service, you need to restart it. Okay, you need to restart it. Otherwise, these environment variables which are stored in the database will not be available to this container. You have to restart the app. So what happens during restart, during start, the container will make a call to CC, get the environment variables and set them on the container. Then if you want to connect to this service, you can look up the environment variable. Yeah, anybody remembers what is the name of the environment variable? Yeah, anyone? Sorry?
VCP?
Yeah, vcap underscore services. This is the environment variable under which the bound service details will be present. So by default for your bound service, this is the environment variable. Now, for every application, there will be one more environment variable also called as vcap underscore application, which contains the application related details. Let me just show you. I'll take any of the app. Let's say I'll take this app manager JS Green. Okay. CFENV, the app name. This will give the environment variables. See here. Is there vcap underscore services? It is empty for that. That's fine. There are no bound services for this. vcap underscore application. It is containing the application related details like the application ID which got generated, application name, URIs, right? All the other details, right? So there will be these things, and you can see there are some user provided key value pairs. These are the user provided environment variables available for it. Okay. So that's about the environment variables. vcap underscore services will contain the bound service details, and vcap underscore application will contain the application related details which are generated by default when you push. Okay, that's about services quickly revised. Now going ahead with today's agenda, actually we completed up to this part. Now going ahead with today's agenda, this is day 5 actually. A small topic is left, application security groups. So we'll complete that first and then we'll go to the next topics. So what are application security groups? A very simple topic. Let me complete it. Okay. Now let me actually give you some basic before I go ahead. Let's assume that I am using only a cloud like AWS or Google Cloud. Let's take Google Cloud. Google Cloud, they have a lot of regions. They have their data center in multiple regions, and one region can have multiple zones, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. For example, US East 1 is one region. Under that, US East 1B, 1C, 1.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
And D are zones. Now when I want to create a VM, what I will be doing is I will be telling my VM should be created in which zone. Let's say I want my VM to be created in this zone. Which network? Again, in Google Cloud, there will be some default networks and subnetworks. I will tell which network and which subnetwork. So my VM will be created in the selected zone, in a selected network and subnetwork. Okay, this is my VM. Now, how do I tell what all inbound traffic should be allowed, what all outbound traffic should be allowed to this VM? So if you know, in any cloud, there will be something called as firewalls. We need to configure a firewalls on the cloud where we tell what is the inbound traffic allowed, from what all IP addresses you want to allow the inbound traffic, and what all ports you want to open for inbound traffic. You will configure that in firewalls. And also outbound traffic. That means an application which is running in this VM should be able to make outbound calls to what all IP addresses or ports that you specify in outbound. So normally we configure a firewall on the cloud where we tell about our inbound rules and outbound rules, right? This is the firewall on clouds. But when it comes to our Cloud Foundry, in Cloud Foundry, my application containers will be running inside cells. And how can we access my application? We will hit our application through the router only, right? I told you that for my Cloud Foundry, there will be a router which is mapped to apps domain as well as sys domain. So any request coming with star.apps domain will go to here, or star.sys domain will go to here. So in my case, suppose if I pushed my app, let's say I pushed my app with name X. By default, what will be the URL? X dot my apps domain is actually Siva env. Sorry, apps domain is actually apps dot Siva env dot algo robo dot in, right? This is the one. So whenever I give a request, it will go to router. Router will route it. So anyway, are we hitting the container directly? No, we are anyway going through a router. So now what I want to do is I want to tell to my application, I want to configure what should be my inbound rules, from what all URL should I get it. I don't need to bother, because anyway, nobody is hitting my container directly. They'll always go through the router. So as far as my application is concerned, if I want to configure any firewall rules, my administrator could configure such firewall rules at the router level, router VM level itself. So my application need not bother. So for my application, I need to bother what should be the outbound traffic. Suppose an application is running inside a container, what all URLs it will be able to make call, right? So I should configure those rules. So in Cloud Foundry, we configure something called as application security groups. Security groups related to application, ASGs we call. These application security groups are nothing but virtual firewalls that control the egress traffic, that means outbound traffic. Remember, these application security groups do not bother about inbound traffic or ingress traffic. So these are virtual firewalls that control only egress or outbound traffic. So suppose if your application needs to talk to a MySQL database or any database, right? Actually, it should be allowed to make a call to, right? What rules will define whether my application will be able to connect to this MySQL or not. Security groups. Security groups are virtual firewalls. Okay. So, now let me ask you a simple question before I go ahead. Let's assume that I have a database, legacy database in my data center. This is a legacy database on my data center. How can my app connect to this legacy database? Tell me. How can my app connect to this database outside of Cloud Foundry? What my application needs?
User provided service. User service.
Exactly. My application needs username, password, URL. So what we need to do is we need to create a user provided service and pass the credentials of this. Then bind that service with the application. So the credentials to connect will be available as environment variable. So in my application code, what I can do, I can look up those environment variables, use them to make a connection. So you are an application developer and you wrote the logic to make a connection. It is working on your laptop, let's say. The connection, normally whenever you develop your application, you'll try to run it from your machine. It is connecting. But once you deploy to Cloud Foundry, somehow the application is crashing because it is not able to connect. Why?
So we need to provide proper ASG security group for outbound traffic.
Exactly. So you need to configure a security group where you whitelist the IP and ports of this database. Only the IPs and ports, whatever have been whitelisted in your application security group, those only will be accessible by your application. So as you as a developer, suppose if you are facing this issue, you are not able to connect to any third-party service or anything, connection is failing, then you should be able to identify, oh, there might be some problem with a security group. So you have to ask your administrator to configure a security group which will allow this outbound traffic, right? So normally, who will create this application security groups? Not a developer. Of course, developer should not have that control. If he is having that control, he will allow everything, right? So your administrators will normally create application security groups. But you, the developer, has to make a request to your administrator and tell, okay, allow the traffic for these IP ranges and ports. Then he should be maybe validating whether your request is okay or not. And then he will create a security group, right? So how does your administrator create a security group? Let me just show you existing security groups. Okay. So now if I say CF security dash groups, I'll just show you existing security groups. Yes, there is one security group called as, you can see, default security group, and there's one more thing called as CRUD Hub Open Security Group, etc. Right? Now let me just describe this CRUD Hub Open Security Group. CF security dash group CRUD Hub Open. Security group, it says CRUD Hub underscore open. This will describe that one. Oh, see here, it is specifying these are the rules. So actually the rules are self-explanatory. It looks like a JSON file, right? This is an array in JSON and this is an object or map in JSON. key value pairs. So here there is one rule, only one rule in this array. There is only one object, right? One rule, which says allow outbound traffic using TCP to what all destinations? These all IP ranges. 0.0 means all, and 8443 and 8844 port, right? And let me actually describe default underscore security underscore group. CF security group and group name. Yep. Now you can see in default security group, what are they allowing? The rule, there are two rules. Protocol, all protocol, destination is 0.0.0.02, these IP range of IPs. These are whitelisted. Okay. These IP ranges, protocols are whitelisted. Anything which is not whitelisted is blacklisted. So remember, when we are configuring a security group, we will just only whitelist the protocols, IP ranges, and ports. Hey, here, if you see in the first rule and second rule, there is no port information. But whereas in the other one, there are port informations. So if there are no port information, that means all ports are allowed. Okay. So now, suppose I'm your administrator and I have to create a security group. How to create a security group? Simple. CF, there's a command called as create dash security dash group. I want the help. I want to take the help. Okay, here it is showing the help. How to create a security group? CF, create security group, and whatever you want to give a group name and path to a JSON rules file. So basically you need to create a JSON rules file like this, which contains an array, and save it and use it to create a security group. So let me do it quickly because I'm logged in as admin right now. CF target. I am logged in as admin user. I should be able to create a security group. But if you are logged in as a developer, you will not be able to create a security group, right? Security groups will be created only by admins. So now I'll say vi mysg.json. I'm creating a file. Then I'll paste. I just copied whatever was there in example. Don't worry. I just pasted. Don't worry about the indentation. It's okay. So the destination ranges. These are destination ranges, and these are the ports. So I just copied whatever was there in the example. Okay, just to show you an example on how to do it. Okay. Now, how to create a security group? CF create dash security dash group. Group name, I'll say Siva SG and / mysg.json. That's it. Created security group. Now let's see CF security dash groups. Yeah, now do you see there is a security group Siva SG created? Okay, I just created a security group. Now this security group, should it be applied to?
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
It should be applied to what all apps? I may want to bind the security group to all apps in, let's say, a dev space or some space, right? How many spaces are there right now? See, these are all the spaces. There's one system space, right? I'll be able to create a space, CF, just for now, CF create dash space, Siva dev. Yep, I just create a space called Siva dev, and automatically for me it assigned a role called as space manager and space developer. Okay, now I want to say CF security groups. Okay, now I want this security group, whatever I created, to be bound to a space, right? So CF bind dash security dash group. I'll take help on how to use it. Bind dash, I'll say space dash security group. I want to bind to a space. I'll take help. Oh, CF bind. Wait. CF bind dash security group. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So actually, this is a help which you are getting, and see also bind. Okay. Bind staging security group or bind running security group. These are the other things. But let's say I want to bind the space to all running apps in a particular security group, then I can use this bind running security group. So first of all, let me take the help CF help bind running security group. Okay, how to use it? CF bind running security group name, right? So in what space I am right now? CF target. I am in which space? System space, right? I'm in a space called a system space in system organization. Now what I want is I want to bind the security group to the current space and to all running apps. So what I can do, CF bind dash running dash security dash group. Group name is Siva SG. That's all. Your administrator has bound this security group to the current space, but only for running apps. So whatever rules I specified for my security group, right, that will be applied to all running apps in the current space, right? Suppose you want to apply your security group to all staging apps. Staging app means what? The process of creating your droplet application image staging, right? So when your droplet is getting created also, it is actually connecting to external sources and downloading some files. If you want to keep a restriction on what all outbound URLs are allowed, then you can configure security group and use bind staging security group. That means whenever an application is getting staged in the current space, the rules whatever is specified in the security group will be applied. So you can bind a security group either to running app using bind running security group or to a staging app using bind staging security group, right? And there's one more called as bind security group. Let us see what is that. CF help bind dash security dash group. This is very interesting. CF bind security group. What are group name I created? Siva SG. I want to bind the security group to a particular organization. So whatever spaces are under that organization, I want my security group to be applied to all spaces under this organization. I can just fire a command like this. And optionally, suppose under this organization, if you want your security group to be applied only for running apps, you can use -- lifecycle running. Or if you want the security group to be applied only for staging apps, you can use staging. If you don't specify this option, what does it mean? This security group will be applied to all running as well as staging apps under this organization for all spaces. Or suppose under this organization there are 3 spaces. You want the security group to be applied to a particular space, you can also specify the space name, right? So basically this creating security groups and binding security groups are done by your administrator. You as a developer, this command will not work for you if you are not having a permission of admin. But why this topic is important to you as a developer is only for one reason. Your app is trying to connect to some external service. Maybe it is a SOAP web service, some external SOAP service, or some external REST service. It is working in your laptop. It is able to connect. But when you push to Cloud Foundry, you are not able to connect. That means some security group has to allow this outbound traffic. So you should be able to request your administrator saying that this has to be allowed. So he will configure a security group accordingly. So that's the concept of security group. Okay. Any doubts? Let me know. Security groups, are they clear? Any queries till now?
Shiva, Dinesh here.
Tell me, Dinesh.
Yeah, the staging will have information about the organization and space details.
See, whenever you are pushing, right? When will the staging happen? When you push.
Whenever the
so whenever you are pushing, you are already in a particular organization. You are in a particular space. So staging happens in that particular space, right? So when your application is getting staged in a particular space, you want to tell, okay, during staging, you don't want to allow, let's say, outbound traffic to some size. You don't configure a security group, or you want to allow configure a security group. Is that your question, or is the question answered?
Yeah, I got information.
Yeah, sure. Any other queries? Okay, so fine. So let's go to the next topic. Security groups are done. Now, log draining, logging architecture. Yesterday or day before yesterday, I told you about logging architecture, and we understood that the logs are buffered. But if you want the logs to be drained to some third party, how do you do it? Let us see. I'll quickly review on logging architecture of Cloud Foundry, and I'll show you how to drain your logs to third parties like Papertrail or ELK or Splunk. The procedure will be same. So let us go ahead. So in Cloud Foundry, this is your Cloud Foundry. On every cell, there will be a component called as Metron agent. Metron agent. And of course, there will be representative, executor, garden, etc. Right? And importantly, I am writing here executor. So actually, executor will use garden API and launch a container. So executor will be the parent to the container. It will be able to read any logs written in your container to std out or std err. So the executor will read the standard out or standard error of your container and send it to Metron. Metron will send those logs to another component in Cloud Foundry called as Doppler. Doppler is nothing but a logging server in Cloud Foundry. Metron will forward the logs. But Doppler will not persist the logs. It will only buffer the logs. Okay. And I told you that there will be one more component called as traffic controller, which exposes a WebSocket endpoint called as fire hose. Now, whenever a developer executes CF logs app name, what will happen is the client will make a WebSocket connection to Firehose and will wait for any new logs coming. So that's how CF logs will tail the logs. But whatever are new logs, because I said it is tailing the logs. If you want all the logs available in the buffer for that app, you can say dash recent. So you'll get all the logs in the buffer. But the problem here is, what if the buffer is full? There will be some capacity for the buffer. What if the buffer is full? Then the old logs will be deleted from the buffer and new logs will be added. That means if I want to see the logs before 1 year, 1 month, I will not be able to see. So for storing the logs, we have a lot of third-party applications like log managers, we call them. Either we can use Splunk or ELK, Elasticsearch, Logstash, or Kibana, or any log manager. But right now, setup of Splunk and ELK, again, it's too difficult, so I'm not going to show you. I'll show you a third-party cloud-based log manager, which is having a free trial. So I'll use something called as Paper Trial. It has a cloud-based logging manager. So I'll show you how you can drain your logs from Doppler to Paper Trail so that Paper Trail can persist. And for Paper Trail, there's a very good UI where you can see all the logs, right? Very simple. Let me show you how to drain your logs, right? So I have a documentation which I have created. I'll just follow the steps in the documentation and we'll show you. So actually, I want to use Paper Trail. I'll go to papertrail.com. Yes. I'll go to papertrail.com and I will sign up for a free trial. I'll give some, actually, I'll give something. Some email. It will not even validate the email. That's okay. What happened? Oh, we noticed that you already have. Okay. Sign up with a different mail ID. Siva2312 something at gmail.com. And the password. Okay. I'll start logging. That's all. It will create a trial. Okay. So it logged in. Now what I have to do is I have to go to /systems/new /systems/new. I want to create a new system. Yeah. See here, I have an option. I use Cloud Foundry. The paper trail supports Cloud Foundry. What should we call it? I'll say Siva Drain. And I'll say save. Okay. Now I'll go to dashboard. It is in Siva Drains/events. Any events or logs which are coming will be shown here. Now I'll go to dashboard.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.